There are a few things I really wish more buyers knew before ever starting to look at houses. And it's not market stats, it's not interest rates, but things that would actually make the process feel calmer and prevent a lot of unnecessary stress. Most people think buying a home starts with listings. It doesn't. Looking at houses before you understand why you're moving is how people end up overwhelmed and frustrated. Because if you don't know what problem you're trying to solve, every house will feel wrong, even the good ones. The process doesn't start with houses, it starts with clarity and focus. One thing that helps people breathe almost immediately is understanding that the process actually has an order. It usually looks like this. First, getting pre-approved so you know what's realistic. Then making sure your current home is on the market if that's part of the move. Then showings, then writing an offer, then conditions and closing. You don't have to do all of this at once. When those steps get mixed together, everything feels urgent, even when it isn't. Let me give you a real example of what this looks like in practice. I'll have someone say, okay, we want to start looking, but they don't have a pre-approval yet, or their house isn't listed, or they're trying to do both of those things at the exact same time. So now they're talking numbers, booking showings, thinking about timelines, worrying about selling, and trying to decide if the move even makes sense all at once. That's usually the moment people start feeling overwhelmed, short-tempered, and second-guessy. Not because they're bad at this, but because the steps are stacked in the wrong order. When we slow it down and put things back in sequence, the stress drops almost immediately. I'll be honest, this is something I understand personally. We bought our house because we were mentally tired of making decisions. Not because it was perfect, not because everything lined up beautifully, but because our brains were exhausted. And that matters. Because decision fatigue is real. When you're tired, every option feels heavier. Everything feels urgent. And the goal quietly shifts from what fits us best to, I just want this to be over. And I want to be really clear. We love where we live. We're happy in our home. But with hindsight, we realize something small but important. We probably would have chosen something with more space away from people. Not because the house was wrong, but because we needed more quiet than we admitted at the time. And on paper, that feels like a small detail. In real life, those details matter. So if you're thinking about buying and things already feel heavy, you're not doing it wrong. You might just be trying to do too many steps at once or skipping the part where clarity gets built. And if you want help walking through this in the right order without pressure or rushing, that's what I do. There's no panic, there's no overwhelm, just clarity, one step at a time when it's actually time.